What a difference a day will make, you know?
For sure.
A little night of sleep.
Yeah. I mean, I'm still where I was last night. But you're right in theory, I think.
Yeah. Oh, but the soothing rain, you got to enjoy that.
Yeah, for sure. That really cheered me up.
Dude, I love a soothing rain, man. That's my favorite weather.
First time in a while, I was excited for a little dreary day.
Nice and it's so dreary. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR show. Oh, the Vote and Adam show, the old stiff show, man, back together. Nobody else had it in them.
They weren't built for it. They weren't ready for it.
They were a little down in the locker room last night after the game.
I'd go so far as to say they were afraid of it.
They were afraid of the moment. Not everybody could handle this, but you and I, man.
I know. I bailed on the kids.
Where were you yesterday? Hold on a second. What happened?
They did win, right? I got to check my notes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, we may be at the nadir of the season. That's something to be excited for. It's like how I get excited every year.
You do. I know where you're going.
For the winter solstice. I just get pumped because I'm like, you know what? This is the nadir. This is the shortest day. They're all going to be marginally longer. And now look at us. At 6 o'clock sunsets.
You're right, and they only get better from here, don't they?
Daylight's coming right around the corner. I should mention real quick that we are in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Today, we got 2 off days this week. No weekend games, by the way, which is kind of nice. But 2 off day shows in the middle of the week. We'll probably have practice tomorrow, I anticipate, and I think that'll be very fascinating. I'm very excited to check out what happens at practice tomorrow.
For sure.
What's said, where are the teams at, as well as some updates, perhaps, on some players. So today's a chance for us to reset and kind of step back and ask some actual questions about what's going on with the Nuggets. We have 10. We really have 11. Every time you say like 10 questions, it's never exactly 10.
And we'll maybe get to 7 of them, but what are you going to do? You know?
What can you do, man? We might go long. We might go short today, Kale. We might go long. The first one, Kale, can you bring it up? Is it in vogue right now to criticize Nikola Jokic?
Great first question. Also, maybe the easiest question you put on the doc today. Yes. I think it's been that way since coming out of the All-Star break.
Yeah, maybe.
I think there was a swelling of. I don't think this one has legs, but I think there was a swelling of everyone played hard, but Luka and Jokic didn't.
Right.
And then he came back, and it wasn't his best basketball. Then everyone kind of gets back on his side with the Lou Dort thing for a bit.
Oh man, he had it back.
But now after last night, it all just kind of lends itself to, if you wanted to really, 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 not critique him, but dunk on him online, be a hater, I would say people are they found a ledge to grab onto in a way they haven't in about 3 years.
It's a thing I've noticed in media now that I've been in this for 11 years, watching people grab onto the latest thing. It's like there is a story, somebody starts it, and then it becomes the thing everyone has a take on. And there is a lot of just hive mind, this or that. Last night, the Jazz broadcast team had some lowlights of Nikola Jokic trying to get fouls, and some of them were legitimate. Some of them, I think you watch it, and you're and we've talked about it on this very show, that Jokic has been trying to grift fouls more than ever by a lot. It's actually a point of criticism we've had. And he had some last night. And I think our frustration was less from the foul grifting and more from the fact that the physicality of their little guys was getting to him so much that he was kind of losing his mind.
Right.
But in that low light reel, there were also several plays that either one were clearly that really led the low light reel that we saw. Jokic gets the ball on the elbow and he looks into the paint and he sees a guy helping over and he's sitting there watching him, waiting for him to check out of the paint. And after about 5 seconds, the defender on Jokic, I think it was Tshiebwe, pokes the ball out of bounds, doesn't touch anything but ball. It was a good poke away. And Jokic turns to the official and complains. And they go, "What's Jokic complaining about? That was all ball." Good question, but there is an answer to it that's very obvious if you're paying attention to the game. Jokic was upset because he was holding the ball for 5 seconds, waiting for the defender to check out of the paint, and he never did. And he turned to the official and said, call 3 seconds on him, which it was.
And you can actually see in that clip, because I watched the Jazz broadcast just because, I streamed
You
it.
hate yourself, yeah.
Yeah, and it was so bad. And like, if you were watching that as a not Nuggets fan, you're going, yes, because then Jokic did flop in that game. So it snowballs and it gets to a place where they sort of feel justified to point out some of the things that you were talking about, which all just brings us back to the question of, it seems like people got a little bit of a license to do it right now. And so they're taking that and really pushing it.
And it's just the thing. And like, it's almost like you get brownie points. Like media, the thing I've said, I've always had a healthy distrust for, I mean, I want to say it because it's a balancing thing. I have deep respect for journalists and I have a healthy disrespect for journalists because I've been in this. And when I first made the entry point into it, a lot of people were like, well, you can't be a fan. You have to be unbiased this. And I've just realized how biased so many journalists are in their own job. Right. But more to the point, I see how influenced even the best journalists can be by their peer pressure. Nobody wants to be liked by other journalists or other people in their field more than journalists. And so that's why I say the big thing, the common story in sports, it's like once something takes hold, everybody has to be like, I'm on the side too, guys. I'm here too. And I just was like on the timeline last night and I'm like, wow, everybody is chiming in on the big thing right now, which is this low light reel that I just told you about was like, you can actually watch it and analyze it for yourself. And there's real criticism. It's like everybody wants to signal that they're part of the crew right now. I'm with you on the common thing. The big thing right now, I'm with you.
Yeah, I agree. People would like to extend it now in hindsight to things that have already happened.
Of course.
This is who he's always been. People didn't realize, like, he's being exposed and all this. To me, from the Nuggets perspective, I think there's a real conversation to have about Jokic's approach. But I don't think it's some moral high ground thing. I'm worried, as we've talked about on this show, that he's so focused on the whistle right now, is taking him out of playing his game. Yeah. And as a team searches for its identity with him back in the fold, it's kind of leaving them in a limbo. I do believe that's happening.
I do too.
I think that's a different thing than what you're describing, which is just kind of now it's in vogue to just sort of, actually, this guy was always the worst. Right. And I know why, and here's why. Or
to exaggerate even in real time. I mean, we have talked about it on the show, and I'll talk about it right now. Jokic's problem is that the game plan, and Will Hardy, by the way, talked about this last night. If you put little guys on him, they can frustrate him, they can get handsy with him, and we can wear him down. Well, how do you wear a guy down other than you're just trying to get physical with him the whole game and hope that they only call so much, and it's exhausting for a guy to say. He spelled this out in his post-game commentary before then saying, if anybody else has any ideas, let me know, because nothing works.
By the way, that is, exactly. What we're left with is we go small and we foul it.
And we just try to goon up the game a little bit and see what we can do. But Jokic has been trying for 10 years to try to figure out ways to get around that, to solve that problem in the NBA of why are guys allowed to get so physical with him out on the perimeter in ways that other smaller players, I think a lot of bigs deal with this. Jokic is just the most versatile big, and he's, does these things. So he's been trying to solve this problem. And I just think the answer is there is no solution, man. You have to accept it. It doesn't mean it's right.
It's not fair.
It's not fair. But quit trying to solve it through antics, through flopping, through baiting, through whining. Like, those things are human. I'm not taking away your humanity and saying you should want them. I'm saying you have to just accept that that's the way it is. But they still can't stop you. As Will Hardy said, yes, that was our game plan. It didn't work.
Right. Exactly. You're both entitled to this.
Yeah.
And there's still a responsibility that I could never assume, even if I was good at basketball, but it's his responsibility nonetheless. Like, the sort of bottom line of it all is what's best for the team. And I do think there's a threshold crossed for Jokic where being so concerned with the whistle, right or wrong, hinders him more than the whistle itself. Does that make sense? And
of course.
That's what I'm sort of concerned about with Jokic. Also think he'll figure it out, but I do think it's a part of what's happening right now for sure.
But it's very in vogue right now for a very specific type, and it's a very common type of analyst to kind of get on this rallying cry right now. And it sucks. It always sucks when you're on the wrong side of this. That same thing happened with Lou Dort, by the way, in the last game. And again, I think this one was fair that Lou Dort did that move against Jokic where he leans into him in the backcourt where there's no basketball play to be had, gets low and goes at his knee, and it became the common thing where everybody wanted to comment on that. Everybody's commenting on Jokic, and he gave them enough for them to have a leg of stand on, but of course people took it too far. Yep. Next question for you. This one's actually hard. Given where we are right now, what is a realistic easiest path to a championship in terms of playoff matchups.
Oh my, yeah.
We got to wrap our heads around the fact that there is no easy path anymore.
We're taking the 2 seed off the table here, right? So
There's 7 games back with 20 to go. I don't think you can realistically do that. Go 20-0, you still won't get it.
all right, so if you're building the best path, you got to get up to 3, right?
I think you can get up to 3. You're only a game back, technically 2 in the loss column, but 1 game back of Houston. You can do that.
So who do you want to play there in the first round? The Suns, right?
Can the Suns really get up to this? I guess they could.
They're only 2 games back, right?
You'd rather face them than the Lakers or the Rockets even.
So I think you're winning either one.
Okay.
I'm thinking of which one do you have a better chance of winning in 5 games?
The Suns have a talent deficiency.
That's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like you meet them on the regular season, they can out scrap you. They can catch you by surprise. Like they deserve credit for being so much better than people like me thought they were. I just think you get into the postseason, and if the talent deficit is that big, that's that. Personally,
Yeah.
I would think that's your best bet of going 5 games.
That'd be so tough for Kale, man.
Yeah, Kale.
That would be a
wouldn't
tough
want to put Kale in that
series.
position.
Who would you root for in that series, Kale?
The Suns, obviously. Of
Really?
course. Yeah,
Dude, I
of
knew it,
course.
man.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
knew
yeah.
it.
I've just completely turned heel in the last 12 months.
It's so unrealistic that I think for the Nuggets to get the 3 at this moment doesn't feel totally realistic, although I still think it has a good chance of happening. But betting on that and the Suns overtaking the Lakers, given the injuries that they're facing right now, both of those things don't seem so likely. I do agree that it's probably the easiest. I don't know if I agree that it's realistic, but it is possible.
I'm pushing it because you know what's not easy, Adam? All the other choices.
All the other options. All right, so they get the Suns in round 1, and maybe you get a quick one. Round 2, what's the easiest round 2 or the best case scenario round 2 in your opinion? That's realistic.
I mean, you would just be playing the Spurs, right?
I don't see. I mean, or the Thunder. It's possible you could think the Sun Thunder.
I get. Yeah, no, that's right. That's right. I mean, the Spurs could still do this. I think the Spurs present a lot of problems I'm worried about when you juxtapose them directly with OKC. I will say that's the easier matchup.
I think so too, but it's a tough one.
Yeah.
So now you're talking about
I'm not sleeping on them, you know.
and you're going on the road. So you get a home series against the Suns, best case scenario. Road series against the Spurs. And then realistically, is there anybody that you could see knocking out? This leaves Houston, the Lakers, and one of the play-in teams as teams to potentially knock out an Oklahoma City Thunder team. Is it realistic to think that would happen, or is it just the Thunder?
I think it's just the Thunder. I don't think it's a 0% chance, but realistic, that qualifier, I'm going to say no.
I agree with you. I don't see them losing. I think that the easiest case scenario, and I don't even know if Phoenix is realistic, but best case scenario is Phoenix, Spurs, Thunder, both of those last 2 on the road. And then you get to a finals. Realistically, coming out of the East, the worst team you could see coming out of there, or the best matchup for Denver?
Probably Boston. That's a bit of a joke, but they are not a bad matchup for Denver, it seems like, over the years.
It is true, man.
I would actually say Detroit, though, because I think Detroit's style, like
Yeah.
if they get to the finals, could be grueling and exhausting, and then you got to make shots. And I just don't think the Pistons can make enough shots to win all of those rounds and then beat the Western representative.
So I agree with you on both of those accounts. I think the Celtics you would want to say, just because it does seem like Denver has a good matchup, but Boston can make threes.
Yep.
Detroit can't really score like that. And I think they're really good defensively and they can slow the game down, control tempo. But I just trust Denver if it gets to, like, you just need 105 points to win or 110 points. I think Denver can get that even against good defenses. And then can you guard a team that lacks shooting? That's actually Denver's specialty. If you don't have great shooting, Denver might have a chance against you.
I agree, yeah.
So I agree with you. I think it's the easiest path. Is it an easy path? Absolutely not. You're talking about easily 350 win teams
And playing through,
on the road.
and at that point, you've gone through the 3 best defenses in the league.
That's right. You go
including
through.
one of the best of all time.
Wait, are we writing a good script here?
I mean,
That's a good script.
If the first one was the easiest, I'm doing
Yeah.
quote marks, easiest Title I in years, maybe it just has to be this way, brother.
Number 1 offense of the season versus the top 3 defenses on the road and getting it done. That's a good story, man.
It's a really good story, and it would also, I think, open up some larger league-wide interesting dialogue, right? About trend. Like, there's a lot of historical precedent in the NBA, and
Yeah.
it does feel to me like the last 10 years of the league are so different that you might start to see some of these like typical signifiers or cliches kind of lose merit. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
So defense wins championships. Now, I'm not saying the Nuggets are going to win right now. That would be a very bold pick. If they did, though, if this narrative as we've unfolded it sort of played out, that would be the discussion, right? Like, do you need an elite defense? Although OKC just won with one.
I don't know if that would be the discussion. I think it's a better one. Like, I think Nuggets fans and fans of sports in general want the easiest path because it makes you feel the less stress. And I understand that. But there is something that if you could just guarantee that you come out the other side, you actually want the toughest path because that would be the most rewarding thing. If you do that, the Nuggets and Jokic in particular, that's a feather in the cap. That's what you talk about when you say, well, they went through the number 1, 2, and 3 defense in the NBA that year.
Yeah.
And there was no defense for him. They solved it all. And is he the greatest offensive player of all time? Has anybody else gone through number 1, 2, and 3 defense? Those type of things become a feather in your cap that are special.
And the Thunder well on their way to establishing themselves as, just in terms of how they're talked about right now and their resume and their profile. You build a myth off of beating that team with all the momentum they have right now. Not a myth, but a story, right? The way we talk about our best players and how it evolves over time.
Yeah. All right, we got to take a break. On the other side, the upcoming questions are about, can the offense break every defense, building off of that one? And could the Nuggets come back, this version of the team, could they come back from 3-1? That was part of their DNA the last few years. Is that still part of their DNA? We'll talk about that on the other side.
Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR. Trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA for generations. They built those durable legends destined for greatness, perfect for Colorado. Yeah, you know Toyota for their trucks. Did you know that they also offer more low and zero emission vehicles combined than any other automaker? That gives you, the customer, numerous choices to reduce your carbon footprint. And in Colorado, some of you, might need those trucks. You might need them to get some work done or just to get around. Some of you, of course, are looking to reduce that carbon footprint. No matter what type of Coloradan you are, there's a Toyota that's just right for you. Visit your Front Range Toyota stores at a location near you. There's AutoNation Toyota Arapahoe in Centennial, Corwin Toyota in Boulder, Groove Toyota in Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places. Shopify is the e-commerce platform behind millions of businesses around the world and 10% of all e-commerce in the US. 10%. I'm not a math guy, but I think that comes out to a lot. I can give you an example. Shopify actually powers the DNVR merch store. A lot of great stuff up there right now for you to go purchase, thanks to our guy D-Line. And obviously do go check that site out. But when you're there, just know that we're getting this done. We're powering this merch store through our friends at Shopify. They have got you covered if you're looking to create and sell with website creation, product descriptions, email and social media marketing, and more. They also have AI tools designed to help you maximize sales. Again, if you're ready to sell, you are ready for Shopify. Turn your big business idea into with Shopify on your side. Sign up for your $1 per month and start selling today at shopify.com/allcity. That's shopify.com/allcity.
Welcome back to Guys Talking here. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed. We got off day shows. Everybody needed a breather. Everybody needed it, including us. Take your breather. I think there's some good basketball to be played up ahead. We're doing 10 questions here. Our next question, can this offense, which has been very good all year long, even with guys out, can this offense break every defense in the NBA? There's 2 defenses in particular I want to highlight here that teams are trying right now, and I suspect will be part of the playoffs. One is the force Jokic to take threes, just really sink off of him and give him open looks from 3, but make him shoot 10 to 15 a game. And the other one was what we saw last night, which is put a small guy on him, rough him up, and just try to deny the entry to him because Denver doesn't always know what to do when they can't play through him. When we just take that option off the table, even if it takes 2 players, albeit 2 little players.
Yeah, I don't think they've solved that as a team for sure. It's clearly, with the sort of musical chairs they're playing in terms of who's closing any given night, like it's clearly what's giving them fits, especially in the clutch right now when they can't just play through Jokic the way they'd like to. In theory, I think this roster has some of what you need to counter it. They've improved their shooting. I would take a lot of guys on this roster to hit corner threes more than last year's roster, including versions of themselves, like Peyton Watson, the best example probably. And that might have to be part of it. Jokic will have to hit his threes. The guys who are left wide open will have to hit their threes. Or Jamal Murray just has to absolutely dominate with the advantage that's been created We saw more of that in the second Thunder matchup. We saw a lot of it last night from Murray.
Agreed.
This particular Nuggets team is better suited to do all of those things than last year's team. So I think that they are capable of beating this defense with this roster. I don't know about breaking it. I think you're going to have, if you go 7 with the Thunder, there are going to be a couple of games where Jokic doesn't look great, I think, because he tried to shoot his threes and missed them.
Yeah, it is possible that they have a game or two like that. And I think the fear for me on the 3-point Jokic perspective of this is I'm less worried about that as a game plan in game 1. Like right. Denver, even if they drop a game 1, I think Jokic will bounce back in game 2 and like this or that. Right. I'm more worried about that being a closeout game strategy. Maybe it's a game 7. Maybe you're on the road 3-2, down 3-2 or something, or on your heels down 3-2, and they say time to break it out. This game is just going to come down to that. We're going to make him shoot 13. How many does he make? It's those one-off scenarios. I don't know if it's a viable strategy over the course of a series, but teams could bust it out then. To me, an underrated thing, and we did a poor job of breaking this down, myself especially on yesterday's show. When you do the defense that Will Hardy and the Jazz did last night, where they're trying to front and even sandwich Jokic from behind and just overloading, you need Murray in that moment to break the game open because you're so compromised trying to stop Jokic. Murray did, and it actually is a big reason why he had 45 points. It's a big reason of why Denver won, and I think it was underappreciated last night about that's actually how that game is supposed to go. Now, Denver could have collectively done things to make the margins bigger, but Murray actually did his job of, if they're going to take away our entries, I have to go and be special, and he was last night.
Completely agree. Yeah, I completely agree. And it was the biggest difference, I think, in the Thunder games that they were competitive in versus got blown out this year, was Jamal missed all of his shots in that first game, wasn't really very good, was much better in the second one, and Nuggets were able to take him to overtime. There's no question that has to be part of the equation towards beating this coverage. And it's a little bit of what happened to Jamal with how the last 2 postseasons ended and the subsequent dialogue about him from us and the fans. It wasn't all just the conditioning and are you doing everything you can. It's like, hey, you actually just need to be better in those spots. Like, it's the only way this team can make it through. Right now, I just have so much more trust in Jamal to be that guy in a big spot. The most trust I've had in him to be that guy since 2023. So, again, I think that's part of the reason why it could be a different equation this year.
Kale, do we have a crystal ball we can pull up or some kind of genie or something? I have a prediction for this year's playoffs. Here's what I think. Jamal Murray is going to have a 50-point game in this playoffs. 50 feels a lot. I wanted to say 45 or something, but that feels kind of soft to say.
Sure.
I don't know if he'll actually hit 50, but I think Jamal will have at least one big scoring game in this playoffs, and it'll be a game like this where it's like, okay, they're bending the defense. They're trusting a one-on-one. All right, kind of, right? I guess it is kind of a brightest timeline. I think Murray will have one game where it's like, it has to be Jamal because they're overloading on Jokic, and he'll step up to the plate and have it. He's been very good this year, and he looks more he's very capable of doing that just with his skill set. This year, that skill set's been on display. Next question, number 4. Could you see the Nuggets winning a series in 4 or 5 games? I kind of think this is required if you're going to make it 4 rounds, that one of these has to be quick.
Yeah, the first round has to be quick, in my opinion.
That's the only one?
Because the second, what are your chances you get a matchup in the second round where you're like super confident you can do it in 5 games? So I'm just saying, at the very least, you really want that in the first round, especially because you want Aaron Gordon to survive this gauntlet. So to me, what are your chances? Whatever your chances are of catching the Suns in the first round. Outside of that, no, I do like right now.
Well, right now, we got 20 games to get ready.
Yeah, I know. I just feels like right now they're too susceptible to certain lapses or lulls. They may be a completely different team that from now till then, but right now it just feels like not unless they got a very favorable matchup. I think it might go 6.
I could, and here's the thing: I can't see it against Oklahoma City. If Denver beats Oklahoma City, it's going to be in 7 games, maybe 6. If you told me they won that series and they did it in 5 or 4 games, I'd be like, there's no way. There's just no way. It doesn't feel possible. I don't think they can against San Antonio, but it is possible.
Yeah, I would just be surprised. I would be very surprised.
I would be very surprised, but it is possible. If it was a Detroit, I actually think that one's very possible because at that point, you just wonder about the stylistic matchup. I mean, Denver had 2 very close games with them. I think they lost both games by 2 points. And it was at times when Denver was very shorthanded and just not playing very good basketball. I just think that matchup is good. And I could see that one.
Okay.
And I certainly could see a first rounder if it was against the Suns.
Or maybe even the Lakers too.
Maybe even the Lakers, and to be honest with you, maybe even the Rockets. The Rockets are a team that struggle quite a bit. I'm curious to see what they do in the playoffs. I could see it. So could you get away with a 5-game series in round 1, 5-game finals, and 2 7-game series in the middle?
Yes.
That's a viable path?
Yes. I think that's it. Yeah.
So again, I'm not predicting this is what's going to happen, but it's not out of the equation for me to think that Denver could win those specific matchups.
Completely agree. Again, I still actually believe in some of the top end outcomes for this team and it being far more competitive than it feels right now.
Yeah.
Having said that, right now it does. You still need to wish away that these factors that are present in Nuggets basketball right now. So for now, it just feels like I still think they'd win a lot of these series, but would they be their sharpest selves and get it done in 5 games? Much work to do.
Could you see the Nuggets losing in 4 or 5?
No.
Really?
I don't know. I could not see the Nuggets losing a series in 4 or 5 games.
I think I maybe could. Again, there is a world where the Nuggets don't course correct here, or whatever. Again, not assuming injuries or something like that can change the equation. But if you're saying fully healthy, look, man, I do think it's within the realm of possibility that Nuggets could face one of those top teams and lose in 5 games.
I guess things were so bad last year, so unfathomably bad heading into the playoffs. The roster had massive...
Worse than this year.
The roster had deficiencies, objective holes in it, and they took that team to 7. So every year's a new year. I have some doubts right now, but I have a hard time seeing them just completely rolling over and getting waxed by someone.
I, again, would not predict them losing in 5, but I do think it's within the realm of possibility. Just like I'm not predicting Denver to win multiple series in 4 or 5 games, but it is within the realm of possibility. I just have a hard time... I think it's probably going to just come down to some really grinded out series. I think Denver is in for a lot of 6 and 7 game series.
That's what I'm mostly prepared for.
This one's tough. Question number 5. Who should play the most? We've talked a lot about who should start. And really where this question is coming from, we've looked at this primarily through the Christian Braun versus Peyton Watson angle, and then maybe you get into some of the other guys. Is Cam Johnson really penciled in for most minutes of, I think there's 3 guys that when everyone's healthy and you're in the playoffs, there's 3 guys that play more than everyone else.
Sure,
it's
of course.
Clear.
Yeah.
Jokic, Murray, AG.
And Jalen Pickett. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, Jalen Pickett. And then after that, it's like, who actually gets the most minutes there, in your opinion?
It's a really, really, really good question. I think Tim Hardaway will. I don't think you can...
Tim Hardaway will get the most minutes?
Well, I don't know, number 1. I'm saying he's in that group of guys.
This would be 4th most minutes.
So for 4th most minutes.
Because you're starting, Jokic, AG, and Murray, I think
if you're fully healthy. Sorry.
Fully healthy.
I think it's going to end up, I think, being one of Christian or P. Watt. I think it should be P. Watt.
Over Cam. More minutes even than Cam Johnson. Spencer Jones is in there. It's a tough question. Because I think we just assume that really Cam Johnson was also a 35, 36 minute per game guy.
No, if I'm really ordering it, it becomes tough. Look, I would say right now Cam is, I think the way you framed it's kind of funny. I actually think Cam is penciled in, but it's not in pen. And you can turn that thing around and erase it if you have to. So
it might have been erased, man. There's a chance that Cam is in the CB pile, which is to say not out of the rotation, not diminished. It's just you could see CB not closing a game or playing a reduced role in a series or struggling and then not getting chances after game 3 to play that and being like a 24-minute per game guy.
I do.
You could see that.
I do. I just think almost like I wonder with the Christian kind of Peyton conversation, I get the sense that Adelman's preference in plan A would be like the opening night starting lineup, and he can rely and trust on all those guys.
There's 20 games left, and I'm just so curious if Cam Johnson's spot as a 33, 34-minute per game player is a little more in question. Again, I don't think he's getting cut or significantly reduced, but is it that crazy to think that there will be games where Peyton Watson plays more than him?
No, it's not. It could end up being Peyton for sure, was kind of the point I was very confident in. It could absolutely end up being Peyton. And it may be the case, like what the Nuggets have built here is they have 3 best players and then they have pieces.
Yes.
And it may be the case that you're relying more on different pieces from one series to the next. And maybe that some of that versatility and that elasticity is something they like and want. So, but as far as the top 4 guy, I think there's a chance it ends up being Peyton just as the 4th guy on this team.
If I were handicapping it right now, Peyton coming back from injury is tough just because we don't know how he's going to look.
I know.
But I'll go Cam, Peyton, Christian. Then there's a gap. Then I would say I actually think Bruce and Tim. then another gap, then Spencer. I think that's kind of the order as I see it. And I think Spencer could actually end up playing a bunch of minutes too. It's entirely possible this is inverted. And he ends up being a guy that we get to a playoffs and we're like, you know what? Just play him. He'll hit the corner three and defend.
Spencer's in this grouping. He's not my fourth guy after the big three, if you will. But he's in this conversation. I think Spencer will and has to play a lot. How many options do you have of guys that can play meaningful defense, and then if they're open in the corner, you like that shot?
I think this is where we are with Cam, is that he's one of those guys. It's like, you know what? His minutes as being the fourth most minute guy is just no longer expected. Now I'm like, you know what? He's really good. He's a very valuable piece, but it is possible he's not the best piece for a given game, series, or whatever.
Sure.
And I think he'll always play like 26 plus minutes, but it's possible it's closer to 27, 28 than 33. And we end up seeing Peyton Watson at 28, 29, and it's just the way it worked out.
The thing about Cam is I do think he still has a really high floor in terms of how he fits into this healthy team.
Yeah.
He has not given them enough in the marquee matchups. There's no question.
Yeah.
But he is a guy I actually think he does space the floor a little, and he does play defense. So he's probably still going to get a lot of minutes. But is it the same as it was what the plan was 2-3 months ago? No.
Yeah.
No.
And same goes for CB. I mean, he's a guy that can be great. He might end up being the guy that's fourth overall and just, playing a lot. But it's also possible that he can't shoot in a series or gets him, and we'll see.
And that was that question pertained to the best version of CB, as it were.
Yeah.
But at least don't you feel like we're getting closer to that? Like Christian
for sure.
looks way more confident even.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a good sign.
He doesn't have to grow his hair back out like I suggested. He can keep it short. Let's take a break. On the other side, how long will it take for Aaron Gordon to start making an impact? And does David Adelman know how to lead this group? Those questions still to come.
It's game time, basketball fans. From tip-off to the final buzzer, winning takes teamwork. And when you or a loved one is up against a cancer diagnosis, you need a team that you can trust to never back down through every setback and rebound. Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers is that team. They are Colorado's leading cancer specialists. And anyone, unfortunately, who has seen this, been close to this, what cancer can do to a loved one, to you, you know how important it is to have a team that you can trust around that treatment. Not just that you trust their capabilities in terms of taking care of you and treating you, but the communication, being open with you, and the empathy, of course, right? Treating you like a human being who's going through something really, really difficult, which obviously you or a loved one are. And they know that at Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers. The leading cancer specialists with 30 years delivering nationally recognized care right here at home, treating more adult cancers than anyone else in the state. Rocky Mountain Cancer Centers, your courage, their expertise. And shout out Benihana. That's right, Benihana. Where's Dev for this? I feel like just saying the words Benihana get him really excited. Right now, there are $3, $6, and $9 happy hours at Benihana. They start at just $3, of course. Includes specialty rolls, cocktails, and premium bites. This exists at these happy hours are available Monday through Friday in the Denver and Broomfield locations from 3 to 6 p.m. I mean, you know about Benihana. You know what it's like to go there, and they play all the fun games with your food. They make the volcanoes. It's an absolute treat. I can't believe this is a partner of ours. What an absolute treat. The Hibachi Grill is the field when you're there. The show happens right in front of you. More than just a meal, it's an experience. Definitely a great experience to bring the kids, make it a family trip. They're great. The shrimp toss, the onion volcano, the beating heart fried rice. They play the hits. They play the classics at Benihana. You know about it. But if you haven't been in a while, you should make your reservation and find out more information at benihana.com.
Somebody said we're groaning in the background.
No, that would be the actual British soccer fans watching their game in our bar downstairs. Shout out Leeds.
The Leeds Soccer Fan Club comes here for their games. We're asking some questions here, so participate in the chat. The real ones are here today. I know a lot of people needed the day off mentally, but the real ones, they powered through.
And the smart ones took their day off mentally yesterday.
Ah, you clever dog. You dirty dog.
Yeah.
How long will it take Aaron Gordon to make an impact? I think he's going to be back very soon. I would predict Thursday. I don't know. I think he's ready to play. I think the team just has to clear him, and the team is going to be cautious. So at this moment, I don't think they know. But if he is back, how long do you think it'll take for him to make an impact? And what do the first game, first 3, first 6 look like?
Yeah, first of all, I agree with you. I have the same read on this, which is, I know people are a little worried about folks rushing it back and maybe the organization just kind of letting players do that. I do think part of the equation right now is everyone kind of encouraging each other not to make that same mistake and not to rush back. This is an interesting question. Some of an impact right away, like literally right away. Offensively, having another guy that you like to sort of... AG has figured out how to score without his, I think, formidable, imposing physical nature over the years. He has go-to jump shots now, that little turnarounder in the mid-range, that help, that they're high percentage looks now, and they can help settle groups down. The type of impact we'd like to see, like holistically, will take a while, right? Especially I think on the defensive end. You don't expect or even want Aaron to come back and immediately be your best defender. That puts a lot on your lower body.
Yeah.
It's going to be difficult. He is going to have to get his legs back under him. He's missed most of the season. Conditioning is going to be an issue. So the full Aaron Gordon effect will take a bit. But Aaron Gordon bump or boost, I think you're going to get it right away.
They might get an emotional bump from his return.
Yeah.
I think AG is an important, just like character in the Nuggets universe, in the Nuggets locker room, and on the floor for them. I think everybody settles a little bit. Some of this is reputation. It's like when a shooter comes back from from a long injury, he might not shoot well, but you still guard him as if he is. I think Aaron Gordon has some of that gravity where teams, when he's on the floor, you still don't think about, he's hobbled, so I can do this. You just guard him as if he's not hobbled. And I think he'll have that gravity. I think he'll have a leadership quality, a connected tissue that the team will feel instantly. And I think we'll have an instant boost to the team. So I think game one, it's a noticeable difference. But I do agree with you that I think there will be a lot of inconsistency in the Nuggets at large while they ramp him up. And that will probably take, 7 or 8 games.
I mean, David Adelman has warned us. To be honest, he warned us when Jokic got back. He tried really hard. He said there's going to be a reintegration period.
Yeah.
Like that feels weird to say because you're getting your best guys back. But they were without guys for so long, they had to change who they were. Jokic gets back, you have to change who you are again. But now you have Jokic back, but you don't have Aaron Gordon. So who are you then? Now you're going to get Aaron Gordon back, but it's not going to be 100% of Aaron Gordon. So who are you then? Yes, you have to brace yourself for this in a weird way, getting kind of sloppy as he comes back. But I think ultimately you're going to see some impact on the health of the half-court offense just by him being there.
We were talking before the show, and you had a good point about how your read on David Adelman is that he's actually probably a little less panicked than the average person. I think panic's the wrong word because I think he's bothered by this losing.
Yeah.
But that if you were to ask him, are they playing better now or were they playing better 12 games ago, he would say right now.
Yes. And
I think that's true, even though the record doesn't reflect it. They're playing better teams. But that you get a sense David Adelman almost feels like we are playing better. Just not winning.
Take it further. He said it. It was pregame, so it's I don't get to call in after those, so they don't always get covered as much. So I should point out that pregame, before the Wolves game, Adelman was saying, sometimes you look at the schedule when you're winning a lot of games and you realize, we just beat a lot of bad teams, or like they were injured, or they were on game X of a road trip. Sometimes you're 500 and you're looking at it, and you're going, we are playing much better. That's how Adelman feels right now. The physicality is up. The defense is better. They are playing better teams, and they are still incomplete, and they have things to work through. So I do think he's a little encouraged. I think his biggest concern right now are these non-Jokic minutes, which have just completely gone to hell in the last couple of weeks.
I'm looking at the schedule. There's 4 more back-to-back still. Feels like so many, man.
Doesn't it?
So many more back-to-back.
Are some of them like at home, though, where you stay at home?
Yes, including this Thursday, Friday, Lakers, New York.
I kind of like Denver in those spots.
Yeah, it's not that bad when you can go home and sleep and, you're in control of your own time. How about, is there just enough time for it all to come together? This is kind of the same question, but do you think there's enough time because then Peyton Watson has to come back. Cam Johnson's out right now. He's going to have to come back. Spencer Jones is out. At some point, everybody gets back, and just how long do you think it's going to take? We've talked about this one a lot, but I'm curious if there's a number.
Is there enough time to become the best version of yourselves and compete for a really good seed? That part, I don't think so.
The seed part, no.
I'm extremely skeptical of that. The playoffs, I think you just have to look at last year. It was more dire and less likely that there was going to be some kind of turnaround and they were going to look like the Nuggets again. And they did. I'm not saying they're guaranteed that again, right? Just because we've seen it once before, but I didn't think they had they were nowhere near the best versions of themselves. And by round 2, they were really close. So it is possible. It's absolutely possible, especially when the core are guys who have done this together before. But it's certainly a wrench in the equation, man. Like, they just don't have a lot of time. The runway's very, very short. So it's not, they don't have time to iron these wrinkles out.
I think 7 games is going to be more than enough. I know that sounds crazy because it's not that many. I think it might be as few as that. 5 feels too few. You want to get a rhythm. You want to really be able to experiment with some different things. But if you told me the Nuggets closed the year with 7 really good games, not just beating, I mean, some of the teams they play, Utah, the Spurs game will be big. Then you have Portland at home, Memphis at home, Thunder at home at the end of the year when they're probably not even playing for anything, and then at the road to the Spurs where they're probably not playing for anything. And yet, just beating Portland, Utah, Memphis, and San Antonio and Golden State, if you won those games, even though they're not necessarily the toughest schedule, but you play the right way and everything just feels like chemistry is building, I actually think that's enough.
And the first round can be enough too. Like, that's when
if you get a first round,
let's say you get Phoenix again. I'm not picking on them. You just don't have a lot of good options here. Let's say you get Phoenix again. Maybe it can be like, over the course of those 5 games, we found our sharp edge again. It's possible. It's possible for sure. And honestly, in 2023, they did that against the Wolves. They limped into the postseason.
That's right.
We weren't that confident. Then they played great basketball for 5 games against a good team, and they were ready for that second round.
I think was it my producer James Denver Thuggett who had a tweet the other day that said Denver lost 7 of their last 10 in 2023.
Yeah.
That was a great stat. I don't remember that, but I mean, it just goes to show you that it is how these things work.
What that group got was their buzzsaw January. And that would have been this year again, same month, by the way, with that schedule. If they were healthy, you thought 10-6 was good in January, they would have ripped through that stretch.
Yeah.
They didn't have Jokic. So, and that, by the way, might be their like undoing. They didn't get to see themselves do it. But it sort of feels like what's different from 2023 so far, among other factors, of course.
Next question. Does David Adelman know how to lead this group? I think he knows how to strategize, although even that has been tough as people have been shorthanded. But when they're healthy, I think he was doing a good job with the strategy. The question is, does he know how to lead them, keep guys accountable, get guys regrouped when they need to be regrouped, all of those things?
Yeah, that part I'm not sure on, man. I think the jury is out on that. First of all, I think it's just... let me know who knows how to do it. I think we've reached a certain ironic point here in it feels like they could use the at least apparent boot that Malone would kind of kick into their rear end sometimes. But also, Malone got fired because everyone got tired of that and it stopped working.
Right.
And it culminated in, they'll say, coach is tripping. And I think Adelman was like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that. But now he ironically is at a point in the season where it's like, all right, are you guys going to try hard? Like, what do you want me to do here? So I would say the answer is no, but I would also say I don't know how easy it is. I think you have 2 guys in there that lead by example, maybe more than anything else, in Jamal and Jokic. It sounds like Jamal has really embraced some of the other elements of leadership this year, but he can still be a bit mercurial. Like, he didn't circle that game against OKC. I kind of wish he would have. You know, Jokic just said the other day, I'm not going to talk every time. So it does kind of leave you wondering, who is and does someone need to be? I think these are fair questions to ask.
The motivational aspect of coaching, it's almost like it can be background noise because Malone was really good. We saw him like mic'd up sometimes in timeouts, like, we have to compete, fight.
Right.
You know, like he's just screaming and like all he's saying is the stuff pretty much anyone could say, but he has a presence to him and he has a cadence. And it's almost like background music where you don't even notice it. You're like, oh, this is cool. But you don't notice the music part of it. And then when there's bad background music, you're like, oh, that's what's going on here.
100%.
Like picturing David Adelman saying, guys, fight. Here it is. It's like, I can't picture him doing that in a way that
he's even said he borderline rolls his eyes when he's deemed it the rah style of coaching. That's not who Adelman is. Does this team need it? Feels like yes. Also, they stopped responding to it, and that's how a championship winning head coach, among other reasons, lost his job. So I do think, some of it falls on the staff. I also think the players need to. Part of what happened in the playoffs last year is the players got their stuff together, right?
Right. He rallied them last year for sure.
So can they do that again? And whose job is it to make sure that happens? And is it happening? All fair questions to ask, I think.
One thing leadership looks like from a coaching standpoint right now, Cam Johnson is very down, as we saw with his locker room report. He's very down. That is also a part of a coach's job, is to try to tell a guy like, hey, we still believe in you, stick with it. While also, as we said earlier, maybe saying that he's not a guy that's just penciled in for 33, 34 minutes. That's difficult. Those are two different messages to send.
Right.
But that's part of leadership. He's got to bring Peyton Watson back into the fold. He's got to find rotations that make sense. He's got to motivate Jokic and Jamal and those types of things. So it actually is a very layered thing before you ever get to just the decision-making strategic elements of it. And he's being handed.
I would say I actually kind of wrote about this exact dynamic we're talking about after the Wolves game, and it's still relevant if you want to read it on the DNVR.com, talking about why David Adelman finally changed his tone. I do think there's a little bit of an awakening to the fact of like, oh yeah, it would have been ideal if I could just focus on the whiteboard and they took care of everything else, but that's actually not a realistic perspective on the job.
Yep. Next one, are Murray and Jokic going to be too tired by the playoffs? I see this one on the timeline and in my mentions a lot.
More worried about Jamal than Jokic, because even though it's always a bad thing to have a bone bruise and miss a month, it's also a month worth of games he didn't play, right? So like I do subscribe to some extent of that logic. Like it could work out as rest. What it cost Denver in the meantime is, I think, another discussion. Jamal, I'm really worried about it. And that's at least what you could try to argue with the Tyus Jones signing. Well, if it's important to try to save Jamal's minutes, there's one more point guard as an insurance policy. Of course, the obvious follow-up question to that is he even a better option than Jalen Pickett? I would say no. So yeah, I'm more worried about Jamal than Jokic, just in terms of the workload and how it might grate on him and deteriorate.
My worry with Jokic is I think he needs to get in better shape. And some of this is he comes back from injury or naturally have to get in better shape. It's not, no fault of his own. But there's another part of this where I think in years past, Jamal has come into the league out of shape, worked his way into shape throughout the course of the year, but always right before the playoffs. And I don't know when that time was. He and Jokic have both done this, where it's like, I don't know if they changed their diet. I don't know if they're getting better sleep. I don't know if it's just because you're not on the road, so you're getting more sleep and able to take care of your body. But they both slimmed down a lot. And Jokic I'm looking at right now, and I'm thinking, it looks like it's time. And I'm 42 now. When I lost like a ton of weight when I was in my late 20s and got into some of the best shape I've ever been in my life. I did it again sometime around like 33, 34. Trying that again at like 40 is so much harder.
Yeah.
And I wonder with Jokic, he's a professional athlete. It's different layers. My fear with both of those guys as they get a little older is if they're like, I know it always takes me 2 weeks to get in shape. And it's like, no, it took 27-year-old Jokic 2 weeks to get in shape.
Yeah.
31-year-old Jokic, it actually takes 4 weeks, and that's now.
Yeah, and you missed a month. And also I think, first of all, to any extent, any guy who is Jokic's size who loses their cardio activities for a month is going to put weight on.
Yep.
Now, I'm not saying that's not necessarily a defense of Jokic's conditioning. That's just a reality of that injury. So it sets him back a little bit more. Yeah, I do think he has some weight to lose. I do.
And maybe even Murray too. Like Murray right now looks spry and everything, but I also know he can get even more cut. And I just have seen this from him going into the playoffs. I hope he doesn't lose that. I hope he retains that part of when the playoffs come, everything gets locked in, even though he's been in great shape all year. I just now go to even, but it's like, do we still get playoff
do you have
Murray?
Enough energy to find another gear at the end of it?
We've always got playoff Murray, which was great relative to regular season. This regular season Murray has been great, but what if there's a playoff Murray to even this?
That's what I'm hoping. And if there is, you can still get this done, brother.
You can still get it done.
Absolutely. But I share your concern.
Yeah, I want to start seeing it. Could the Nuggets, this version of the Nuggets, come back from down 3-1? If you really think about the Jokic arc, it is about coming back in series. It really is. They did it twice. It's about being resilient in the face of adversity. I think that is a trait that the Nuggets possessed, and I'm not sure they do. Now you think about it, and you think about losing a lead against the Thunder, losing Game 7 on your home court. So are the Nuggets, do they still have the DNA that says even when their back is against the wall, they're still dangerous?
I think they would have to show that they do. I don't know if you necessarily just lose that, and maybe it's the case that what happens here is despite having a great roster and everyone be excited, the season goes in such a way that their backs end up against a wall and they respond to that. We'll find out. The way I'm looking at it right now is it's like, okay, you have to win 4 games in a row. That's 4 games without bungling a potential clutch time. And so it just feels like they possessed a version of them that could be flawless for like 4 straight games. And I don't know if they have that right now. Maybe they can find it. Maybe they still do.
I think Bruce has it. I think Jamal has it. I think Jokic has it. Those guys were part of the championship team. You go past that, I don't know. I think CB has a lot of it.
I think the thing is,
I think P-Watt has a lot of it.
I think the thing is, I think CB has all of that stuff that he needs. It's like the actual skill that may get him in trouble in some of these matchups and stuff like that. But
there's some guys there. I just hope I hope we're talking about the Nuggets a month from now and talking about, you know what, they've grown in the last month, resiliency. Toughness. Like,
and again, today I've as I hear myself sounding really negative just because of where we are in the season. I really think this is all still possible. I don't think we're talking about something that is purely exists in our dreams here.
Dude, I was watching a TikTok. This is my word. I always use the worst examples from my life to make metaphors. I was watching a TikTok. I get into this TikTok sometimes where it's people from prison talking about their experience. And this guy was talking about how he got in a fight early on he gets in a fight, Maximum Security Prison. And he's like, my buddy who I knew in there was just telling me, look, man, they're not going to stop coming from you, but you have to keep fighting. Like the moment you stop, it's over. You're screwed. Yeah. And he's like, so you're going to have to fight like a lot of guys this week, but you can't stop. And I'm like, that's actually a metaphor for the basketball. That's how you win a championship. Yeah. It's very rarely easy. It's just don't stop fighting, man. Just don't stop. The moment you stop, it's over. So just never stop. And you can make anything happen.
Yeah, but the only thing you can't do is roll over and give up.
Yeah, you just cannot at any point, man.
You can't do it. I do think, like Jokic, you talk about a team taking on the personality of their best player, and I do think a little bit of the Jokic being the leader. Is it really a surprise they haven't won 10 games in a row?
I know.
There's part of that. There's a flip side to this, though. I don't think Jokic ever gives up. Like the thing that part of what Draymond was saying about Jokic that I definitely was nodding my head was like, he just keeps coming.
He just keeps going.
And that is kind of my point, going back to the first topic of like, just get back to just keep going. Yeah. No matter how unfair it is.
Agreed. It's a defining trait of the Nuggets in years past. I hope it's a defining trait of them this year. Next one. This one's tough. Peyton Watson has missed a game winner. Cam Johnson's missed a game winner. Jokic has missed a game winner. Jamal Murray has missed game-winning free throws.
Twice.
Three times, really?
Times. 2 different games.
Who do you trust to hit a kick-out three for the win? What guys are in that category where you're like, you know what? That's who. If it has to find someone, find these people.
All right, I do still trust Jamal in that situation.
I do too, especially a three, more so than a free throw.
Especially this year when he's just been straight up one of the best shooters on planet Earth. Yeah. So yeah, Jamal's still in there. Yeah, more than a free throw. I agree. I'll take a turnaround contested mid-ranger over the free throw right now.
Bro, there's something too. I think Jokic is the same way in that basketball is played without thought and free throws are almost pure thought.
Yeah, I know. There's a little bit of that for sure. Which is probably why sometimes Mike is such a bad free throw shooter.
Maybe. No thoughts going on.
Yeah.
Can you imagine if he started taking his free throws off the bounce?
He's like, can you actually have that guy contest me while I shoot this?
Step back, free throw.
Shoots 85%. Sorry, what was the question?
Who do you trust to make a three? So Jamal?
Jamal's in there. Question for you. Is Tim Hardaway Jr. in there?
No.
All right.
I actually think this is one thing about Tim. I mean, I don't think he would miss. I'm just saying he's not a guy that I think he would shoot his regular percentage.
I do too. And more to the point, I just don't know if he's necessarily a guy you want out there in those moments process-wise. But he might also be out there because he is a floor spacer, a guy that can hit an open three. So prepare yourselves for that. Aaron Gordon, yes, I saw the playoffs. I've seen his career.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that.
Wow. I think Aaron Gordon too.
Pretty sick. Dude, covering that, I will say really quickly, covering that whole run, like no matter what you felt about the team, I walked away like, well, that Aaron Gordon guy, pretty cool. That was something. Yes, I trust Aaron Gordon. I have a weird one for you. It's a one or the other. Cam Johnson or Spencer Jones right now?
Spencer Jones.
That's what I'm thinking too. Is that too prisoner of the moment? Is that ridiculous?
It's a little prisoner of the moment. He does shoot well from three in general, so it's not like
and he's going to be wide open if he's.
I just think that guy has no hesitation in his sidewinder. It just goes up no matter what.
I think the no hesitation is his best, like his secret sauce.
The worst thing about Cam missing the three the other day against the Wolves was that it looked like he was going to miss the three.
I would agree.
The shot looked weird. It looked like he.
Spencer doesn't give himself time. He's like, it's going to look bad, but it's going up.
Maybe it's that it looks bad when it's regular, so you don't notice. Maybe he actually freezes in the clutch too, but you can't tell because the shot's like, oh, he shot it like this. It's usually like this, huh? I still have Jokic in there, and I'm gonna add one more name to the list. I'm going to go with Peyton Watson.
I'm with it.
He missed this last one. I think Peyton, and I know it's crazy, but I said it at the time. I kind of like that he missed it because I don't think he'll miss the next one. I think he's the type of guy that takes that one and is like, never again. Never again.
Yeah. See, Peyton was equally as devastated by his miss, but the devastation was different. It was I am never going, like, I want to get better from this.
That wasn't me. What happened?
Right.
Yeah.
As opposed to just like, I'm very upset and sad.
There was a receiver Kale might remember this in the NFL. This is probably 10 years ago. He drops a touchdown winning pass and he went on Twitter and he was like, God, I praise you 24/7 and this is how you do me. And to me, it's the ultimate confidence because he was like, I know I didn't miss it.
I did everything it had
what did you do to me? It's like, wow.
What an awesome thing to post.
All right, last one we have here, and it's going to sound like a crazy one. Go ahead.
Actually,
Get it out.
I don't know if I'm brave enough to say it.
Say it.
I'm not writing Cam out yet.
Of course not. This is why sports are great at this moment, for sure. But I would love a redemption arc for him. It would actually make for a great. Every sports story has failure, overcome, victory.
All right, let me stay in theme with all of my answers. Cam's going to hit a game winner against the Suns in the first round.
All right, let's go.
And then he's going to find his confidence.
Is that when they're down 3-1?
I would hope not. I would hope not.
Last question, a little bit of a wild card one. Will officiating favor Denver in the playoffs? Right now, it's tough because I think a lot is being made of Jokic's flopping. So right now, it's moving in the wrong direction. But prior to that, there was a little bit of momentum towards Lou Dort and some of the physicality and, everybody's trying to get physical and these different things. Is there a world where there's a series that you're kind of like, you know what? I thought Denver got a great whistle last night. I think it's part of why Utah Jazz broadcast team was so crazy is that Denver did get some calls going their way. By the way, Utah didn't challenge a couple plays that were like, you clearly challenged those plays in big moments. Like ball went off Yoke's leg, I think, or shoulder or something on one out of bounds. He's looking back at the bench and it's just like, and they lingered for too long to where he had time to do it. And you could tell he was like, play the game, hurry.
Yeah.
I don't want to win this one.
I think there's a version where the Thunder are officiated less generously than they were last postseason, which would benefit everyone that's not the Thunder. And so, yes, Jokic. But I do think in general, I don't magically expect the small guy getting away with murder fronting thing to just disappear.
Yeah.
I do think I get the sense that officials feel on notice to maybe approach the Thunder games differently. But to me, I think that's an invitation to do what Denver did in this last game, which is just rather than worry about, just do it back to them.
Yeah.
Just do it back to them. And, I thought Denver got a decent whistle in that game too. So I'm not going to go so far as to say it'll benefit the Nuggets directly or specifically, but I could see the Thunder getting a different whistle.
I could see the Thunder getting a different whistle. I could also see them getting the same whistle. I think San Antonio is going to be the team that gets the whistle this offseason. I think, or this playoffs. I think they might be the team that you just look around and you're like, man, this team is really, they're getting helped out here.
And here's the other thing, man. Jokic, I completely agree about the little guys getting away with murder. And I say that as the littlest guy.
Yeah.
But Jokic is also shooting a career high in free throw attempts per game. So they are getting some calls.
Let's go to some super chats here, shall we?
2715, the flopping isn't Jokic's fault. This is Adam Silver's trash NBA's fault. I partially agree with this.
Yeah,
for sure. Jokic is tired of getting his thighs and crotch grabbed, knees taken out. Jokic needs to make a point of the BS he faces every game.
I mean, what he's been trying to make a point for several years now. It's not, but that's our point, is we agree with you on everything except for there's nothing that can be done about it.
Yeah.
We've tried everything. Everything's been tried. The freaking out, the flailing, the flopping, the getting into fight. It's not making a difference. So
no, I think his best bet is, what he
go
did
through it
to Morris and Dort, which is just, if you're going to take blatantly cheap shots, like I'm here. I think that's different than, but yes. Colby Cheeser, it's not a surprise that our two biggest dogs, Spencer and Watson, are both on a contract year. I think it feels like we need more fire in the belly. It's an interesting observation.
That is an interesting observation, actually. There is something, too. A lot of guys do have long-term contracts. I never thought about it. Colby Cheeser?
Think about that.
Way to bring it.
Great point, Colby.
Kale, outro music, if you don't mind. Real ones only. Everybody in the chat, pat yourself on the back. You guys are real ones. You stuck it out on day one of 2 off days for the show. But you know what? Thought we ran the two-man game well.
I did too. Chat, you were great today too. Appreciate you hanging out.
Hit the like button for us on the way out.
We all silly like the mayor.